Greetings and welcome to Rauta's Underground Trio episode 44. This time we have 4 different bands, 3 different releases, styles being black metal and death metal. Now 4 bands because one of these releases is actually split, and of course I will go these in ranking worst to best order according to my own opinion anyway. Feel free to disagree, that's part of the charm here. And since we have 3 different releases now here at hand, all looking quite interesting, let's start doing them. Which one is the one that goes to the position called the worst? Now, mind you, none of these are actually bad. None of these are exactly even mediocrity, but better. I would say all of them are pretty decent, but since I have to rank them some way, let's start with this one. This one is Hasturizm. With Depraved Hypnossis, a solo project from Sweden, and one could kind of make the statement that this is one of those bedroom black metal bands because, you know, you have one man, one person to do everything, and that sometimes, oftentimes, most of the times, is kind of like out there with the chosen production values and what have you. And this is pretty much like a bare-boned, rather rawer end of black metal. Quite primitive at some point, going to levels of Ildiarn almost, but maybe not as repetitive or hypnotic, but still like a little bit on the experimental side of things, doing quite in the raw end. Now, as you can see from the package, this is very, very simple, very bare-boned. There are no booklets, there are no lyrics, just the man in the question here, which is that 2022, 2023 recording, and everything is done by this one man. And as such, this Old Forest production release is like, you see what you get. There is no any level of ultra gimmicks or whatever, just simple like that. Now, if you're into raw end of black metal, you might really actually be interested in this one. This one is a kind of curious case because it shows a lot of potential, but it's kind of like a demo level approach in so many ways. Whether we're talking about production values, whether we're talking about, you know, given songwriting, individual riffs and all that stuff, or even vocal performance, everything is like kind of okay, kind of putting in your right direction. But something like, yeah, maybe you could fix this and maybe you could fix that and all that stuff. Not making exactly big waves here. But then again, lots of that stuff is like, yeah, I get this homebrew feeling about it. Like, yeah, this could really be something but let's be honest about it. With a critical ear and pair of eyes, you would say, yeah, it's not exactly a great release. But there is something worthwhile which makes this more on the decent side of things than pure mediocrity. Of course, individual taste patterns vary, and some people might say this is full crap, and some people are actually gonna say, yeah, it's quite good. But coming from territory where I don't easily hand out good, you know, scores and all that stuff, I would say this is on the decent side of things, and that's pretty much of it. Then we go to my home city with this band called Sepulchral Curse, with the second album, Abhorrent. Oh, goddamn, it's not even zooming properly. Abhorrent Dimensions. Yes, correct. I had to check out if I would, you know, recall incorrectly. Okay, there are material dropping out of the box. I will actually show it to you. Comes with a fancy sticker. Nice colors and all that stuff. And then a hand-numbered copy card so that you have actually this digipack. This also came with some Bandcamp download codes, which I gave to my graphics guy, so they are not included here. If I would show it to you, you would anyway try to copy them. Comes with a rather sweet multi-folding digipack format and still having a booklet. So way more than your typical digipack with nothing more than just page number 1 and 2 and then the jewel case tray or whatever. This is actually very, very nice looking. You don't really get to see maybe these reflections and everything here, but these colors are wild and vivid, and I would say this is the kind of packaging you're looking for if you want some premium digipack. Comes with a rather thick booklet, not just 2-pager, but like proper one. Feels nice, looks glossy, And of course, the lyrics are right there for your reading pleasure. Mind you, of course, the image is a little bit grainy because, you know, even though I have these nice streaming lamps here, well, when you don't have actual strong natural light and all that stuff, things end up looking grainy anyway. But you get the feeling here, you get what you're having when you just go through this kind of packaging, and that's it. This nicely supports the rather knuckle-boned, old-school death metal approach what these guys are having, which means this is none of that modern bullshit death metal like some people out there might be calling it. Now, I like both new and old school, so it's not like that I have an attitude problem for neither style. I'm merely saying everything from this rather organic sound here, the overall production, to the ways the songs are composed, everything here is like reeking of old age. And this is said with a lot of love because, I mean, when we're talking about old school death metal, you have to understand it's very, very different than these super polished, highly, I don't know, honed death metal ones, which are a lot of all about technical gimmickry and all that stuff. This is like going back to the very basic riffs with some guitar leads and solos and, well, deep growly vocals. But there is a downside to it, and I'm not gonna, you know, try to make it sound more beautiful or anything like that. It's not like this album is bad or boring, but it's more like it's nothing new in the terms of bringing the old school death metal sound here and, you know, the feeling, songwriting and all that stuff. The growly vocals, for instance, they are deep and strong, but they're kind of a monotone. Now, that is not a big deal, obviously, if only the songs are good. But that's one of the problems, in my opinion, with the album. Now, there are a bunch of really, really cool guitar leads, and some of the riffs which are like, yeah, this is kind of old school death metal going to crush your bones and all that stuff. But eventually, especially when I gave this multiple spins one after another, I felt like this is not really hooking me in. This is not, you know, making those memorable moments, and more like that riff here and that guitar lead there are cool, but what about the rest? It's more filler rather than killer. This doesn't mean it's mediocrity, but I'm saying there's too much mediocrity as opposed to greatness, which puts this album in the middle of it all. Not exactly good, not exactly mediocre, but kind of decent. Very easy to listen to, and it feels heavy and all that stuff, but it doesn't leave those tracks of like, hey, I'm gonna miss this song and I'm gonna go for this chorus part and all that stuff. And this is very important in my opinion, because when I go for old school classics, be it Entombed or, I don't know, D-Side, Morbid Angel, Both or all that stuff, there are songs which are memorable one after another. And this kind of stuff is more like, it's heavy and growly vocals and all that, but what about the memorable songs? What about the addiction? What about those earworms that you're kind of keep banging your head to even nobody's playing a tune? That's the downside of it. But people who like previous Sepulchral releases probably gonna love it. At least that's the impression I got from reading about like radio music sites and all that stuff. So I'm probably the guy being wrong here and you're probably being correct, especially if you like the previous one. So don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself if you like old school death metal. Then the best of the pile comes in a tape format. This is a split between Riivaus and Rietas. Now, these could be translated in many, many ways, but let's just say in the northern dialect, this Rietas seems to me mean like the devil, even though it can be something person of debauchery and all that stuff. And Riivaus is basically possession. And Loimus is not, you know, your typical way in Finland to put it, but basically means flame, flames. And that's the name of this split tape. Comes with a rather neat cardboard box, and these are hand numbered. You don't get to see these kind of numbers that often. Rauta /100 copies. Now inside, you will find the tape. This is a download code which I'm gonna give to my my graphics guy. Then you have a couple of pins. You can see 2 pentagrams, white and black. And then, of course, the tape, which is here. Classic C tape. And this is how it looks. Nicely printed by Korpituli Productions, who have done a decent job in previous versions. And this comes with nice graphics as well. There's this one guy from Rietas and the other guy from Riivaus. Now, these are guys who you might know from various bands like Korpituli or Curse Upon a Prayer, Sacrificium Carmen and all that stuff. So basically these are two vocalist guys doing all the instruments with the drummer help and all that stuff, doing this kind of a side project thing. And both of them are pretty decent, but nothing out of ordinary. I would say this pales in comparison with these guys' main bands. Not much, but still. The thing here is this is very traditional, kind of a lo-fi Finnish black metal in a way. It reminds me of Horna, it reminds me of Sielun Vihollinen, but kind of a lesser production that is more demo-ish thing. For example, the guitars, well, they're kind of a weakish. They're not strong, they're not powerful, but they do their job just fine. So it's not like I'm gonna slander the production here, but I'm just saying this kind of gives you a strong demo-ish feeling, like taking you back to the 90s when things were not that powerful and all that stuff. When it comes to the actual songwriting, these are very, very much in balance. I mean, I like both bands. They're not making big waves like, wow, but they're nicely done. And the vocals, rather high-pitchy screams in both cases, nicely done. Can't really bitch about anything. 5 tracks in total, of which the 5th one is more like a little bit of like off. I'm not sure if it was a cover track or just made to a cover track like, but sounds like a cover track. That's, I guess, all you need to know. So 5 tracks on a tape as a split tape with a nice cardboard box. This is a winner of this pile. But like I said, none of these are mediocrity. None of them are exactly great, but all are definitely worth giving a shot if you like the given styles, that is. So raw end of black metal, melodic black metal, old school death metal. That's what you need to know. Links are in the description box. So click them and check out what you like, and I hope you like all of them, of course, but if in case you don't, well, now you know the styles and all that stuff. This is Rauta, this is Underground Trio. See you soon with another episode coming your way. Take care.